July 2009. The Russian government declassifies top-secret documents detailing USO encounters with the Russian Navy. Stunning first-hand accounts of extraterrestrial encounters shock the Russian people and ignite interest from the world's UFO research community. But how could such compelling accounts have been kept secret for so long? And why?
A Russian nuclear sub encountered a formation of what appeared to be alien spacecraft at depth under the water.
At a depth of approximately 260 meters, crew aboard a fully weaponized Russian nuclear submarine detect 6 unknown objects on their sonar, traveling in formation directly towards them. What's even more alarming is the speed at which the objects are traveling, in excess of 265 miles per hour.
For years, people have wondered if we are alone in the universe. Now NASA's latest UAP footage reveals mysterious UFO sightings that may hold the answer. The Pentagon reported dozens of UFO sightings in space, including rare NASA UAP footage, marking the first time space sightings were included in such reports. The Pentagon just dropped a shocking report. Hundreds of new unidentified flying object sightings. Strange objects in the sky. Some are moving in ways no one can explain. But before you get too excited, there's no proof of aliens. At least, that's what they say. For years, the government has been studying these mysterious flying objects, now called UAPs, unidentified anomalous phenomena. They've tracked hundreds of them. Some turned out to be birds, balloons, or satellites, but others, they're still a mystery. And one of them almost collided with a passenger plane over the Atlantic Ocean near New York. Imagine that, a commercial flight cruising through the sky when suddenly a strange object appears. No wings, no engines, just floating in its path. The pilots had no time to react. Thankfully, there was no crash, but the incident remains unsolved. And it's not the only one. In 3 other cases, military pilots reported being followed by unknown aircraft. They couldn't tell if they were drones, foreign spy planes, or something else. Investigators tried to connect them to another country, but found nothing. These objects, whatever they were, vanished without a trace. The Pentagon's report covered 757 cases from May 2023 to June 2024. Some were newly reported but happened years ago. Most of these sightings were in the sky, but 49 were spotted much higher, at least 62 miles up, where space begins. None were underwater. Witnesses included commercial pilots, military air crews, and people on the ground. So, what did they find? Nearly 300 objects were explained. Balloons, drones, even Elon Musk's Starlink satellites, which sometimes look like glowing, unidentified flying objects in the night sky. But what about the rest? Hundreds of cases still have no answers. The report admits that, in many cases, there just wasn't enough data to figure out what they were. And this comes at a time when people are demanding the truth. Just one day before the report was released, government officials held a hearing on UAPs. Experts, including former military officers, testified about these strange sightings. They called for more transparency, more investigations, and more answers. But the biggest question remains: if these objects aren't from another country and they aren't from Earth, then where are they from? For now, the government insists no aliens, no spaceships, no proof of anything beyond this world. But with so many unexplained cases, do you believe them? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Moreover, during a UFO meeting, NASA shared a video of a mysterious spherical object in flight, which military officials admitted they couldn't explain. Something strange is flying in our skies. People have seen it. Military pilots have seen it. And now, NASA is finally talking about it. In a big public meeting, NASA showed footage of a mysterious metallic orb flying over the Middle East. The video was captured by a military drone in 2022. A shiny, round object floating in the air. No wings, no exhaust, nothing. Just hovering. And then, in an instant, it moved in ways no one could explain. Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, the head of the Pentagon's Office for Investigating these things, said, "We see these all over the world. they move in strange ways. These objects, called UAPs, unidentified anomalous phenomena, have been spotted in different places at different speeds. Some don't move at all. Others fly at high speeds, then suddenly stop. Scientists have no clue what they are. NASA made one thing very clear in the meeting. They are not hiding anything from the public. They brought in 16 top experts, scientists, military officials, oceanographers, to study these unknown flying objects. And they all agreed on one thing. There is no proof these orbs come from aliens. But then what are they? That's the big question. These orbs are seen at altitudes between 10,000 and 30,000 feet, the same height as airplanes. They don't have engines, they don't produce heat, and yet they move. It's like they defy physics. The study also honored Master Sergeant Sam Sato, a retired Air Force officer who worked hard to understand these mysterious objects. His work helped push the investigation forward. NASA and the Pentagon both admitted that gathering information on these UAPs is hard. Why? Because most of the time, there just isn't enough data. And when people do report sightings, many are afraid of being mocked. Even some of NASA's own experts said they were harassed just for studying this topic. But one thing is certain, these orbs are real. People see them. Radars detect them, and NASA, the Pentagon, and governments around the world are paying attention. A US Air Force infrared sensor captured footage of a UAP flying through a plume of gas and ash during Etna's eruption in Sicily, Italy. December 2018, the Mediterranean Sea. High above the water, an uncrewed US Air Force drone was flying, scanning the skies with its infrared camera. Everything seemed normal until it spotted something unusual. Far in the distance, Mount Etna, a powerful volcano in Sicily, was erupting. A massive plume of fire, smoke, and ash filled the sky. And right there, in the middle of all that chaos, an unknown object appeared. It seemed to move straight through the fiery cloud, untouched by the heat and destruction. The footage was eerie. The object looked like it was passing through the superheated gas and ash, as if it was completely unaffected by the extreme conditions. Could it be something out of this world? A real, unidentified flying object? The US government took the footage seriously. AARO, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, gathered a team of experts from different agencies and even other countries. They studied the video closely, trying to figure out what exactly was seen near the erupting volcano. After months of analysis, they came to a conclusion. It wasn't an unidentified flying object. It was just a balloon. Yes, a balloon. According to AARO, the extreme heat and strange atmospheric conditions near the volcano had tricked the camera. The video made it look like the object was flying through the eruption, but in reality, it was far away, about 170 kilometers from the volcano. It was simply floating in the wind, moving at the same speed and direction as the air currents. Still, many people aren't convinced. Could a simple balloon really look like that on an advanced military camera? Could the heat and smoke really cause such an illusion? Some believe there might be more to the story. Mount Etna has long been a place of mystery. Throughout history, people have reported strange lights and objects near erupting volcanoes. Is it just a coincidence, or is there something about these fiery mountains that attracts the unknown? For now, AARO says there's nothing unusual, just science playing tricks on our eyes. But the footage remains out there, and the questions haven't stopped. The sky holds many secrets, and sometimes, even when we think we have answers, the truth may still be out there. Astronauts on Space Shuttle Discovery recorded flashes of light and moving objects. NASA called them ice particles affected by thrusters, but some ufologists disagree. It was September 1991. The Space Shuttle Discovery was orbiting high above Earth on its STS-48 mission. Everything was going smoothly until something strange happened. The astronauts were busy with their work, but down on Earth, NASA's live video feed captured something unusual, a sudden flash of light. Then several small objects appeared, moving in ways that seemed controlled. Some shot off at high speeds, making sharp turns as if they had a mind of their own. People watching the footage couldn't believe their eyes. What were these objects? Were they just space debris, or was this proof of something more mysterious? NASA quickly stepped in to explain. According to them, these weren't unidentified flying objects. They were just tiny ice particles floating outside the shuttle. The flash of light, that was simply the shuttle firing its thrusters. The engine blast pushed the ice away, making it look like the objects were moving on their own. Many experts, including astronomer Philip C. Platt, agreed with NASA. He explained that in space, even the smallest force, like a tiny push from the shuttle, can send objects flying in unexpected directions. The movement wasn't mysterious. It was just physics. Despite NASA's explanation, many unidentified flying object researchers were not convinced. They argued that the objects in the video changed direction too sharply and moved too fast to be simple ice particles. Some even claimed the footage looked like the shuttle had suddenly reacted to an unknown presence, maybe something watching them from space. Not only this, NASA released footage of a UFO resembling a complex alien satellite or spacecraft, sparking speculation and debate. It started as just another day in space. The astronauts were floating inside their spacecraft, busy with their routine checks. Outside, the vast darkness stretched endlessly, broken only by the soft glow of Earth far below. Everything was calm, but then something strange appeared. One of the astronauts looked out and saw an unidentified object drifting near their spacecraft. It wasn't just a random piece of space debris. It had a complex shape, multiple wings, perfect symmetry, and a slow, steady rotation. It didn't look natural. It didn't look like anything they had ever seen before. The crew immediately reported it to Mission Control. "We're looking right at it," one of the astronauts said. It seemed to be about 1.5 to 2 miles wide. A giant, silent presence just hanging there in space. NASA's ground team listened carefully but had no explanation. "We have nothing for you," they responded. The astronauts continued to watch as the object rotated slowly, almost deliberately, on its axis. It wasn't tumbling like space junk. It was moving with purpose. Then, just as mysteriously as it appeared, it stopped. This was the most puzzling part. The object had been spinning smoothly, but then, suddenly, without warning, it just froze in place. No visible engines, no thrusters, nothing that could explain how it moved or why it stopped. For a moment, there was only silence. Then, one of the astronauts said, almost in disbelief, "I don't know if it's staring at us. Was it watching them, observing, or was it just a coincidence?" The footage was later declassified, allowing the public to see what the astronauts had witnessed. People immediately started asking questions. Was this proof of an alien spacecraft? If not, then what was it? NASA never gave a clear answer. Some experts dismissed it as space debris or an optical illusion. Others weren't so sure. The precise shape, the controlled movement, and the eerie stillness at the end of the video, these details made it hard to ignore. To this day, no one knows exactly what the astronauts saw. A secret satellite? A new kind of spacecraft? Something not from Earth? The mystery remains. One thing is certain: space is full of secrets, and sometimes when we look up, we see things that defy all explanations. In another event, a UFO reportedly crashed on a rocky mesa, raising questions about its origin and impact. The team had been drilling into the rocky mesa for over a month. It wasn't easy. The ground was tough, the equipment struggled, and progress was slow. But they had a reason to keep going. Something strange was buried deep inside. Back in 2021, ground-penetrating radar had revealed a massive, dome-shaped object hidden beneath the surface. It wasn't alone. Surrounding it were several smaller, unidentifiable anomalies. The reading suggested these objects could be metallic, possibly made from materials similar to what NASA uses for spacecraft. No one knew what they were, but the team was determined to find out. To get a closer look, they planned to drill 2 boreholes on either side of the dome-shaped object. Once the holes were complete, they would send scanning devices inside to see what was lurking beneath the mesa. But as the drillers worked, something unexpected happened. The beacon tracking the drill bits started acting strangely. One moment, it was working fine. The next, it was jumping around, losing connection, and behaving erratically. It was as if something inside the mesa was interfering with the signal. The team held their breath, hoping the beacon would stay connected long enough to complete the hole. But then it was gone. No one knew what was causing the interference, but the drillers pushed forward. Then, when they extracted the drill bit, they noticed something even stranger. As they examined the drilling spoils, the loose material pulled from deep inside the mesa, they found a green, jelly-like substance. At first, they thought it was just a strange colored rock, but when one of them picked it up, it squished in his fingers. It wasn't solid. It wasn't something they had ever seen before. The team was baffled. Could this mysterious green jelly be something biological? Could it have come from inside the dome? The questions kept piling up. Then, just when they thought things couldn't get weirder, they found something else. It didn't look like tree bark or natural debris. It looked shaped and cut, almost like it had been crafted by hand. But how could a piece of lumber be buried deep inside a solid rock mesa? No mining operations had ever been recorded in the area. It made no sense. Determined to get answers, the team sent their strange findings to Dr. Power at the University of Utah. His analysis shocked them. The wood wasn't actually wood. It was a prehistoric aquatic plant. Somehow, deep within the mesa, there was evidence of an ancient, long-lost wetland. This meant the land had once been covered by water, possibly millions of years ago. Then came the biggest surprise of all. The green jelly contained burnt plant material. The mesa had been exposed to fire. But how? Had something burned deep beneath the surface long ago, or was something still active inside? The deeper they dug, the stranger it got. What exactly was buried inside the mesa? A natural formation? A hidden structure? Something else entirely? One thing was clear. The mesa was keeping secrets, and whatever was inside, the team was determined to uncover the truth. One more shocking event on the list is a flying saucer reportedly crashed in Italy during World War II, sparking mystery and speculation. The year was 1933. War was creeping across Europe, and Italy was under the rule of Benito Mussolini, a man feared by many. But while the world focused on politics and war, something incredible happened in the Lombardy region of Italy, something that would remain a secret for. It wasn't just any object. Witnesses described it as a large metallic craft, about 50 feet wide, shaped like two saucers stuck together. It had no windows, no visible passengers, just a smooth, grayish surface that looked nothing like anything humans had built. The Italian military rushed to the scene, took control of the wreckage, and carried it away under Mussolini's orders. Mussolini wasn't just curious, he was determined to understand what had fallen from the sky. He formed a secret team of experts, a group called RS-33, and to lead them, he chose Guglielmo Marconi, the brilliant inventor of the radio. If anyone could figure out the technology, it was him. But Marconi was stunned. The craft was far beyond anything humans had ever created. He couldn't explain it. He couldn't reverse engineer it. The only answer left? It wasn't from Earth. The crash site itself was near Mount Musine, a place with a long history of strange occurrences. Some believed the mountain held a hidden energy source, one that UFOs were drawn to. Others even whispered about a secret alien base beneath the mountain, a place where these mysterious crafts came and went undetected by human eyes. Decades later, a former U.S. intelligence officer, David Grush, made an astonishing claim. He revealed that the Italian UFO had not been lost to history. Instead, when World War II ended, the United States seized the wreckage and secretly transported it to America. It was, according to him, the first UFO ever recovered by humans. Grush's words sent shockwaves through the world. Had the US government been hiding alien technology for nearly a century? He claimed to have spoken to former intelligence officials who confirmed it. These officials, people he had trusted his entire career, told him about a top-secret program dedicated to studying recovered alien craft. The revelation caught the attention of politicians, NASA, and the Pentagon. Suddenly, people at the highest levels of power wanted answers. Was this really the first unidentified flying object crash in history? Beyond this, witnesses reported seeing an unidentified flying object in Antarctica, adding to the region's unexplained phenomena. Antarctica, the coldest and most mysterious place on Earth, holds secrets beneath its endless ice. It looks like another planet, untouched and frozen in time. But in October 2020, something strange appeared. Something that left people shocked. A sharp-eyed investigator was scanning satellite images of Antarctica when he saw it. A perfectly round, metallic-looking object was half buried in the snow. It wasn't natural. It wasn't a rock. It looked like a flying saucer. Author Brad Olson was one of the first to spot it. He couldn't believe his eyes. An unidentified flying object in Antarctica. The object seemed to be slowly emerging as the ice melted. Had it been buried there for thousands of years? And if so, who left it there? Some people had a theory. They believed Antarctica was more than just ice and snow. Maybe it was hiding proof of an ancient connection between Earth and Mars. After all, Mars and Antarctica are both cold, dry, and desolate. What if, long ago, Mars had a life, and some of those beings came to Earth? Some even suggested that this saucer was a shuttle, a craft used to travel between the planets. It sounded crazy, but then again, Antarctica wasn't always frozen. Millions of years ago, it was warm, covered in plants, even home to dinosaurs. If aliens had ever visited Earth, Antarctica would have been the perfect hiding spot. Forensic video analyst Mick West decided to take a closer look. He studied the satellite images from different angles. At first, it really did look like a disc-shaped object, but then he saw something strange. When he rotated the image, the saucer disappeared. Suddenly, it looked like a small lake or a crater. It was an optical illusion, a trick of the light. West explained that our brains are wired to see things a certain way. We assume that light comes from above, so shadows and reflections can make a flat surface look raised. This wasn't a UFO. It was just a pond, a simple body of water surrounded by ice. Others weren't so sure. NASA scientist Bob Anderson agreed that many strange formations on Mars were caused by erosion and other natural events, but he also admitted that science is always changing. There was a time when experts thought Mars was completely dry. Now we know it once had oceans. Could the same be true for Antarctica's mysterious object? George Haas, an expert on Mars, believed the discovery was worth investigating. He thought an expedition should be sent to study the site in person. Maybe the satellite image was an illusion, but what if it wasn't? The debate raged on. Some called it proof of ancient aliens. Others dismissed it as melting ice and shadows. Finally, a mysterious, flaming, flying object was spotted over Canada, leaving experts and witnesses puzzled. It was a clear, cloudless day in Quebec, Canada, 2018. A French-speaking family was out enjoying the sunshine when something in the sky caught their attention. They pointed, gasped, and quickly pulled out a camera. Up above, a strange object floated, turning slowly. It seemed to glow red and green, almost like it was on fire. The family couldn't believe their eyes. They kept recording, their voices filled with shock and excitement. What was this thing? A plane? A drone? No, it had no wings, no propellers, and made no sound at all. It was just hanging in the air. The video quickly spread. Experts stepped in to investigate. Was this really something not of this world? Canada, after all, has a long history of unidentified flying object sightings, especially in Quebec, which reports more unidentified flying objects than any other province. As the object turned, it flashed brightly, like flames licking across its surface. Could it be burning? Some wondered if it was a craft releasing fuel before shooting off into space. It wouldn't be the first time unidentified flying objects had been spotted near wildfires, volcanoes, or even the sun itself. But this was different. This time, the unidentified flying object looked like fire itself. To find the truth, video analyst Mark D'Antonio studied the footage. He checked the metadata and searched for edits or special effects. No hoax here. This was real footage of a real object. But what was it? A plane or drone would have exhaust or wings, yet this thing had none. It wasn't a cloud either. The sky was too clear. This was a solid, 3D object reflecting sunlight in a bizarre way. That's when aviation expert Tim McMillan had an idea. What if the fire was just sunlight bouncing off something shiny? Maybe it was nothing more than a mylar balloon, the kind used for parties. Mylar is super reflective, and under the right light, it could look like flames dancing across its surface. As the object shifted, its shape changed. For a moment, it almost looked like a letter, maybe an H, maybe even a horse. Whatever it wasn't acting like a normal balloon. The colors were odd. The shape was strange. In the end, no one could say for sure. Maybe it was a balloon. Maybe something more. But one thing was clear. This wasn't just any ordinary day in Quebec. Unidentified flying object sightings keep surprising us, and now NASA's latest UAP footage has made the mystery even bigger. Are these just strange lights and objects, or is there something truly out there? While experts keep searching for answers, one thing is clear: the sky is full of secrets. Maybe one day we'll finally know the truth.